The Democrat National Convention started in Chicago today, and so I want to give you updates on it so that we can keep informed on some of the things that are happening. And one of the most important things that I noticed, the first thing that I noticed, is a police presence. I'm sure you noticed that too. And I think it's kind of ironic because remember, it looks like to me that I see hundreds of police officers. As a matter of fact, they're standing man to man, lining the streets of Chicago around the parameters of the convention. And the reason that's so amazing to me is that remember, most of the Democrats were against police officers. As a matter of fact, they were all for defunding the police just a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, for sure. So all of a sudden, they've changed their minds. When you had criminals in protests that were burning the street, burning businesses in Atlanta, burning black businesses, small businesses all over the city, burning and pulling down statues, remember, they were not for police. They thought it was fine for them to tear up America. It was fine for them to go into parts of Minnesota and tear up cities there and tear up cities in Wisconsin and everywhere else. But all of a sudden, they decided that they like police officers. And so they're everywhere. And the second thing that I noticed is that guess what? They require an ID to get into their conference, an ID. Now, they've always said that having an ID was racist because black people didn't have IDs. Now, I don't know where they got that from because there's not one service you can get if you're an American in America if you don't have IDs. But they've always said IDs are racist. And so since IDs are racist, I have a question for them. So by you requiring IDs, is your goal to keep black people out? Remember, we're the people that President Joe Biden said did not have IDs. And so since we don't have IDs, are you trying to keep us out? I want you to answer that question. Is that the goal of you asking for IDs to keep all the black people out? Okay, the next thing that I noticed were the fences that were around the parameters of the Democrat National Convention. Fences, isn't that funny? Remember when they didn't think we needed fences around the state of Texas or Arizona to keep out illegal immigrants? Remember? This was just recently that they were suing the state of Texas for trying to keep someone out. Now, you know, the hypocrisy here. They did all of these things against Americans. It was okay for them to have police not there to protect Americans when we were having violent protests against our small businesses. That was fine. It was okay for them to ask for IDs right now at their conference. But when we say we need IDs to vote, they don't want IDs to vote. You remember, they don't need IDs to vote. You don't need IDs to vote. You can vote coming from another country. But if you're going to go into the Democrat National Convention, you must have an ID. They didn't want fences around Texas and Arizona to keep out illegal immigrants from drug trafficking, child trafficking, human trafficking, and God knows what else. All of those things weren't necessary when you were trying to keep criminals out of our states. That was fine with you. But now all of a sudden that you are the one that feels threatened. You want IDs, you want fences, you want police, all of that. The hypocrisy is amazing.